Hey all, welcome to Treck. Welcome to the end of the day live stream. Before we start, I'll just do some quick housekeeping and make sure that everything is working fine. You can always type in the chat window and let me know if you can't hear me clearly. Today I'm using a new mic. As you can see, it's on my lapel, so I'm a proud owner of a new lavalier mic. I have calibrated it. It sounds good, I think, but I'd like your feedback. I have my other mic ready just in case this doesn't work well for you. I can switch to the other mic without much of a problem. With that said, I'm going to just have a quick look at who is on the stream so that I can do the acknowledgements first. So someone is already here. I guess who it is. Oh, Joe, welcome. Thanks, Joe. When you say crisp, you're happy with the sound, right? It's coming clear. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what I have for you guys today. Thank you. Thanks for joining, Joe. You made sure that I'm not talking to myself, so thanks a lot. And I'm learning my lesson. See, today I've got a glass of water with me because in the last so many days of doing the live stream, I realized that I can't speak continuously for an hour without feeling really thirsty. So I got this with me. Occasional swig is good. Maybe later on I'll replace it with some more potent stuff. So one of these days. Okay, so what do I have for you guys today? So I have a whole bunch of things that I want to talk about while we wait for the market to close. I'm going to be talking about the Intel stock, and then I'm also going to be talking about Deloitte saying that 75% of the merchants are planning to accept crypto within the next 2 years and how that could come to be. I'm also talking about a confusing headline that I came across. Actually, two headlines which contradict each other. One of them says that mortgage costs are going down in fear of inflation, and the other says that mortgage costs are going up because interest rates are going up. So they are contradictory messages for the same country, USA. So I just wanted to walk through that and see if we can make sense out of it. And also, I would be talking today about Canada's second quarter GDP, which is expected to come much stronger. I won't be surprised because we export a lot of oil and minerals. So I'm pretty sure that that's what is pushing the GDP up, which means that the Canadian dollar will become stronger. And that could mean bad things for our exports. And I have seen in the last 20 years that things are much cheaper in the US as compared to in Canada. So I don't think any of these merchants are going to pass on the benefits of a stronger Canadian dollar to us. Yeah, New York Yankees announced. Okay, yeah. Yeah, people keep doing that. I always thought that it was a nervous mannerism or a tick that people need to have a cup of something next to them in a talk show and all that. But now I realize it's a necessity. So I've learned a lot, my friend, in the last 9 months of doing this channel. There's so much to learn. It's not as easy as I thought it would be when I started this channel, but I'm enjoying it. And I'm really happy to have good friends like you who are supporting me. So my learning curve is, even though a bit steep, you guys have been a bit forgiving, and I really am thankful for that. Dry mouth. Yes, George, dry mouth. Okay, so since at least two of you are here, I'm going to get started with my topics that I wanted to talk to you about. So the first one is about the headline that says Intel stock is down after softening demand. And I can't believe that PC demand is coming down. So when I read further into that article, this headline comes from CNBC. When I read further into the article, they were talking about companies delaying their PC refresh cycles In other words, companies delaying upgrading their PCs for their staff in order to deal with all the supply chain and inflation and everything. So that's their excuse. But I don't remember seeing any such thing being mentioned by Microsoft when they did their earnings outlook. If any of you had heard about it, then I may like to know that. But if you look at it from another point of view, right, we are talking about metaverse. And we are also talking about a lot of content creators. We are talking about 3D printing and a lot of applications. Even in genomics, we are talking about computing, which cannot be held in your palm. It has to be on a desktop. So how can Intel claim that they are seeing softening demand? I suspect probably the Intel management is really beaten up, and they're trying to bring down the expectations before delivering a normal performance so that everybody thinks it is extraordinary. I would like to see what you guys think about it. Caffeine addiction. I already have a caffeine addiction. I take at least 2 or 3 cups of coffee every day. And the way I consume my coffee is it's instant coffee, and I have milk in it, but no sugar. So I go through at least 3 cups of those in a day. And yeah, today I have some of my favorite edibles available for the evening. I'm going to have a relaxing evening after a long time. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, so that said, yeah, apple juice will also be nice. The second item I wanted to talk to you guys about is that Deloitte is saving nearly 75% of merchants. Long-term, Intel is working. Yeah, they can do good chips and all by putting. They have put a lot of money on infrastructure, Josh. But the question we are asking here is basically about their ability to actually market and sell that. Intel has a solid name, but AMD and others have really broken through, and NVIDIA is really giving it a beating. So ideally, with a company of the stature of Intel, with a head start above everybody else, they should have been in the GPU segment also dominating, and they should have been dominating in the PC sector also, and they should have been dominating even in the mobile sector, but they let go of so many markets. So I'm really wondering whether the management is up to it. Cheers. Yeah. So okay. So the second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was about Deloitte saying that nearly 75% of merchants plan to accept crypto in the next couple of years. This is according to their latest survey. And the way this is likely to work is going to be very different from how Tesla is doing it. Tesla bought and kept crypto in their balance sheet. And I think they paid for it a little bit. I suspect they made a little bit of loss. Their earnings didn't give enough transparency to see the effect of Bitcoins in their portfolio. And I don't know how much of Dogecoins Tesla accepted for selling merchandise and what happened to the capital gains or losses out there. But for other merchants like Starbucks and your random mall vendor, who is going to take crypto, there are multiple questions. One, the first question is, there are so many cryptos. Which crypto are you going to accept and which you are not going to accept? That is number one. Number two, where is the payment gateway for that, which can go into the point of sale equipment? That is number two. And third is, I agreed that you have solved all those first two problems, and now you got various kinds of cryptos that you have received. How do you take care of the contingent liabilities that will come up with it in case it loses value from the point of receipt while it is sitting in the balance sheet? That means you're going to have a lot of losses coming up when the cryptos fluctuate. And it's all a luck of the draw when you do end of the quarter profit and loss and balance sheet. So I don't think companies want that kind of a problem either. So that problem also needs to be tackled. So there is a very interesting option that 50% of the retailers thought they would go for. They would like to have a service that can on the fly convert the crypto being paid by the customer into a local fiat and give it to the merchant. They are looking for something like that. So that could be a good startup opportunity in this area, which does that on the fly. And the startup will not have any liability because they will be on an exchange doing these transactions at live rates. So they will just take a commission on top of it and pass on the money to the merchant. And the merchant may decide, just like they do for Visa or MasterCard, to either absorb that or pass it on to the customer. Now, the people who are best positioned to do this are MasterCard, Visa, and American Express because they already have payment networks. They just need to add this functionality. I don't know whether they are doing it or not, but 2 years is a long period of time with this particular survey coming out. I'm pretty sure in the next 6 months we'll see some action from some company or the other. And I think that we have a few companies that are already doing a lot of work in the crypto sector. And maybe Jack Dorsey may also try to do something in this area. So let us watch for that. What do you guys think about this? Any ideas on the crypto? Do you think it will work? So meanwhile, while I wait for your response, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm just going to get into my browser and walk you through some of the headlines that I have here. Let me shrink myself and put myself into a corner. There you go. So the first news that I wanted to talk to you, apart from all those things, is the consumer expectation sentiments from University of Michigan. So this is the consumer sentiment report that has come out today. So consumer sentiment was essentially unchanged from June, when it had reached an all-time low for the survey, according to the University of Michigan surveys of consumers. The way I read this is that if it has remained unchanged, that means it has plateaued, and because the Fed has decided to reduce the interest rate, assuming recession chances are higher, and oil prices have also fallen from the peak. I think that probably the next consumer expectation sentiment will probably be better than what it was before, because we would have assumed that the worst of the inflation is gone and the financial system is more or less stabilizing itself. So that is one possibility. The other possibility could be that we just go up further because something went wrong in the Ukraine-Russia war front, or the COVID, which we all try to I won't say we try to forget, which it's very convenient for us to lose track of, because right now what is happening is the COVID numbers are equally high like they were ever before. My opinion is that the government is not talking about it, at least in Canada, because I think the government has run out of money to give to people and ask them to stay at home. And the media has got tired of doing the COVID for almost 1.5 to 2 years, and now they're looking for other news. And as a result, we don't have as much hype on the COVID. But I know a lot of people who have got COVID more than once, so one can't let down the guard. And the situation in China, if you were to believe what Peter Zehan says, according to him, the Chinese vaccine is not working and they don't want to admit it. That's why they do all these lockdowns. I don't know whether that is true or false, but the fact remains that China has been doing a lot of lockdowns. And if they do the lockdown again because of COVID, then we will probably have a repeat of the same tantrums that we have had in the last 3 months. So all those factors also have to be kept in mind. So this was one of the big indicators that was supposed to come today. And in my mind, it maintains the status quo. So nothing has changed. So I'll just go to the next item. This is what I was talking to you about Intel. Intel stock slumps 8% after poor earnings show softening demands for PCs. So we already spoke about that. This is the headline from Deloitte that says nearly 75% of retailers plan to accept cryptocurrency payment within the next 2 years. So let us go apart from this. Now, this is the confusing headline I have here that I wanted to discuss. Mortgage rates fall as fears about the US economy looms. Okay, and here they are saying mortgage rates dropped last week as fears grow that the US economy is entering a recession. And now this is on 28th of July. Okay, so see the date here. It's 28th of July, 2022. And then we have this Yahoo headline. The Fed's rate hike means mortgage rates are going to continue to rise. So mortgage rates have been rising steadily over the past year. And with the Federal Reserve's latest rate hike, there likely won't be a slowdown anytime soon, according to one economist. The rise in the rate means the mortgage rates are going to continue to rise, and that we are going to see some pullback in housing market. So these are two contradictory messages out here. I don't know which one is going to be right, but I think that as the Fed keeps on raising interest rate, mortgage providers will probably try to cut down their margins a little bit. They would have a very, very small room out there. in order to stay in business and keep rotating the money. We should also remember that the Fed has stopped renewing mortgage-backed securities that come that expire, as a result of which the Fed is not pumping money into the mortgage market to refinance. So that aspect is also there. So I think that the many mortgage providers will compete with each other until they get knocked out. So there is going to be reduction in the number of mortgage providers in order to conserve the margin. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't think mortgage rates are going to go down. I would be very curious to hear what you guys have to say about that. Let me check what's happening in the chat community out here. Clear. Crypto needs to price stabilize first. Yes, Josh. And that's the place where you need a live gateway, which does the conversion on runtime to fiat currency for this to happen, because crypto will never stabilize. It's not like it's not like a fiat currency. It's there is open use of crypto, and people can speculate on that worldwide. Therefore, and it goes around 24/7. So I think crypto will never stabilize. We need a live solution. Tough call. You highlighted the challenge as well. So many I have recency bias. Yeah, Joe, recency bias. Go second in our criminal justice. So powerful, lol. I just assume that you can't functionally make something legal tender if it passes a certain level of volatility. That is probably true, but right now we have currencies like the Turkish lira, and we have got Sri Lankan rupee and Pakistani rupee. They are all very volatile, and they have fallen down significantly. But I agree with your sentiment. I mean, before something becomes a currency, it has to have some respectable stability. I mean, it need not be 100% stable, but it has to be credible. So I agree with you on that. Yeah, COVID is a nightmare. Politically, it might be effective to keep people contained as well. Yeah, I would like the options to receive and manage crypto at my discretion as a vendor. Need to have smooth transition between fiat. Joe, what I would caution is that as a vendor, don't ever keep crypto in your balance sheet. Always take fiat right away, because if you keep it in your balance sheet, when you are doing your accounts, at that point of time, you'll be doing a conversion. So you've got a lot of contingent liabilities on you, because when you're doing a balance sheet at the cutoff date, if crypto falls, despite doing a good quarter, you may end up showing a bad outcome. And then in the next quarter, if things come out very well, then you'll have a super tax bill. So it's always better to maintain your sanity, to make sure that you have live cutoff immediately. As soon as a customer pays you, let us say 100 algo, it has to be converted into fiat on the spot and put into your balance sheet. That way you can continue working without too much overheads, or else doing accounting on that and doing reconciliation is going to drive you nuts. That's my opinion. Dollar is hot right now, but dollar could suffer in years ahead. Leaves more room, I figure. Dollar would potentially suffer if euro manages to go down, because euro could definitely pick up the slack of dollar. And there are a few other currencies like British pound, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar. Those can also come, and the Indian rupee is also waiting in the wings to come out and do a bit of a role. One of the problems for the US dollar is that because it's a reserve currency of the world, the entire responsibility of moving the world economy is on the shoulders of the United States. Therefore, the weakness from everywhere gets pushed into the US to resolve. So that's a big burden for US. That's the price of being a reserve currency. The dollar is going to live slightly longer than what we expect. But again, I come back to this theory from Peter Zeihan. If we become a multipolar world, then the responsibility of US dollar as a fiat currency will reduce, because there will be multiple fiat currencies which become reserve currencies, alternate reserve currencies. As it is, China is also reducing US dollar from its balance sheet, from its reserves. So we'll have to see how it all shakes out. I really don't have much information. I would like to do some more research on that and maybe make a special video on this with some projections that we can discuss. It's a very interesting topic. Two contradictory messages. Welcome to the markets. True, Newspeak. Yeah, the thing really bugs me is that when I'm trying to do my daily program out here, right? I'm trying to think through logically, and want to be comfortable when I'm talking to you, that I can hold on to my points and be knowledgeable enough of my points that I'm talking to you, that when you make something valid that objects to it, then I can accept it. But when I see articles like this, which just get published in reputed mediums, then I start wondering, what is the point, right? It's all clickbait out there, and you just get eyeballs, and then you have misinformation. So yeah, that's the kind of internet in which we are. But each one of us have to be as responsible as possible. So that's what we'll continue to do here. Rates continue to decrease for mortgages. I don't think they are decreasing, Joe. Rates are going up, and that's why the housing demand is going down. Or pay capital gains. Interesting. We'll get around price instability for the... Yes, it will get around the price instability for the vendor. Yes, that's the idea. So just imagine, like, you're doing your MasterCard, you tap and it got paid. A Visa, you tap and it gets paid. So right now, they already have they don't call it crypto, but they have a digital system. Not physical dollars are not going through. It's just signals that are going through. The same thing is there with crypto. They just have to enable it. Right now, I bet MasterCard, Visa, and all have got multi-currency going on. So they'll have clients who have got a base currency as euro, clients with British pounds as the base currency. So they just have to create more base currencies for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Algo, and all those things. And then they should be able to offer it immediately to people who elect to have that. So I don't think technically it's impossible. Like, I come from a banking project management, software project management side. I've seen many platforms. They can do it very quickly. It's not going to be a big deal for them, in my opinion. Go ahead, and go ahead. You have a good meeting. Don't worry. I have company here from Josh and also from Joe. So I'm in good company. There are quite a few people here. Thanks for checking in. So with that said, let us see. Yeah, so that's about it. Then the next one, I'm going to remove these two. And next one, I want to quickly go and see what is happening in the markets. So let's just go to the futures and see how people are looking at the jitters for the weekend. So futures are looking strongly positive for Nasdaq. But guys, they have broken through this. We have broken through this line of resistance. It's now a support. So it seems that the bull market is picking up steam, and I'm going to try something out here. This is just spitballing, so please bear with me. May. Do we have a potential cup and handle situation here? And if we did have that, then probably at the very least we should go up to 13,672. This is a absolutely rough guess right now, just throwing it out there. And that would still mean that we are below the 200-day exponential moving average. And that seems plausible to me. What do you guys think? Oh, you're talking about head and shoulders inverted? Let us see whether there is a head and shoulders inverted. Let us look at that quickly. So one way of looking at the head and shoulders is that this is a shoulder, this is a shoulder, and this is a head. That is one way of looking at it. Another is this is shoulder, this is head, and this is shoulder. So there'll be a bit of a tilt. So I am not seeing the head and shoulder on a daily chart. Let us go to the weekly chart. In the weekly chart also, we are going straight. I have seen the charts also, Josh. I remember seeing similar charts, but I don't see it in my TradingView platform. I don't see that. So, oh, double bottom. You're talking about double bottom, Josh. Oh, okay, you're talking about double bottom. I have seen the double bottom some places. Let us see. Let me see where I would have seen that. It could have been here in the 4-hour. This could be the double bottom we are talking about. So hit once, hit second time, and gone up, and came back to test this line, passed the test, and went up. Yeah, this is the double bottom I think you're talking about. Is that right, Josh? Yeah, I thought this is what you were talking about. Yeah, this is what it's on US 500, but it does not show the same way on NASDAQ to me because it's got a bit of a tilt out here. So NASDAQ has been a bit different for us. So I would, yeah, I think that's what you had seen. Sometimes some people are so good at technical analysis, they look at the chart and immediately they see the pattern. For me, it's difficult. I have to do a lot of looking at the charts before I identify patterns. And then I go back and check whether those patterns are what I think it is, because there are so many patterns out there. There's candlestick patterns, and then there is chart patterns, which we look at, like head and shoulder and double bottom and all those things. So I always try to go back and validate that in the sources to see whether I have got it right. And then I come and talk to you about it. So my technical analysis is spontaneous to a certain extent, but to a great extent, I do a lot of homework because I need to validate everything before I say here. So sometimes I decide not to say something because I'm not sure about it until I check it out. So that's about this one here, and we have got 4 minutes to go. Let us look at US oil. My God, US oil has broken through that, and let us see what is happening here. So this is the 4-hour chart. In the first 4 hours, it went up and came down. In the second 4 hours, it's well within the diagonal line of support. And this is where various time frames helps. If I go into a one-day time frame, you would see that this was our line of resistance, this red line. We went up briefly, and now we are back under it. So I'm assuming that from this point on, we are going to go down. Let us see what it says in the daily chart in terms of MACD. MACD has turned bullish. So this is not a good development. This is not a good development. This can mean bad things for our indices. So we'll have to watch this tomorrow because, of course, today we just pierced that and came down. The resistance has done its job. I'm not saying it hasn't done, but the MACD has turned bullish. The only saving grace here is that the momentum is below average, and it's just about taking off. So that is still making me feel a bit good about it. But I would wait and watch what happens here on Monday. Then we have QQQ. It's looking good. SPY is looking good. IWM is looking good. Dow Jones is also looking good. WIX, yeah. WIX has come down further. It has come to 21.54 within striking distance of 20. So I really like this, the way it is going. The moment it comes below 20, I think we have good times here. Today I sold one of my stocks, FNGU. I'll show that to you. So FNGU, I sold it at 9.88. It's gone to 10.03. I had bought it for 7.56 or something like that, somewhere in the 7.60 or some range like that. So I made decent profit there. I have kept the money handy to buy Bluebird. So for Bluebird, I put an order to buy at 4.04. So I don't know whether I've got it. I'll have to go and check my account. But one way to find that out is to look at Bluebird here and see whether it went below 4.04. So where is my blue? Bluebird is at 4.04. So I think I would have got this. I would have got Bluebird. I'm betting that when they come to do their earnings season, earnings for Q2, they are most likely to give us some information about where they are with the mandatory FDA committee's approval, because the advisory committee has already ruled positive for Beticel, and it has not been as enthusiastic about Elicel. But the 15th, I think 16th of August is the deadline for FDA mandatory committee to give an approval decision. So they are very less likely to overrule the advisory committee. So at least for Beticel, we are going to have positive news. and I don't see why Bluebird will not talk about that if they have some inside information, because they might have been corresponding with the FDA, anxiously waiting the information. And right now we are already on the last day of July, so just 15 more days to go, and it's not a very long time period. So with that in mind, I decided to buy in the weakness. The weakness is also due to earnings, and there are two opportunities for this share to go up. One is that earnings come out better than expected, which may or may not happen. Number two, FDA gives an approval, in which case this is going to zoom. In my opinion, not financial advice, guys. I put my own money in here, but I'm just sharing what I have done with you. I'm not saying you should do it. Just think carefully before you do any transaction. Okay, so that's one disclosure. It's already 4 o'clock. We'll have to see what's going to happen. Check out Weekends on YouTube. This Fibonacci very important is teaching. Is exceptional. I'll check that out. I have not used Fibonacci. It's easy to apply it here, but I have been reading up on Fibonacci from a mathematics point of view and trying to understand the application. So I've seen a lot of applications on graphics to create various patterns, and it is seen in nature, but I do not know how much I can rely on it, because one of the problems I faced when I started with technical analysis earlier is that if you have too many technical analysis tools, then you get confused and there are contradictory signals, and it makes it very, very difficult to analyze. So I decided at that point of time to keep it simple for myself and the audience. I go with the exponential moving averages, MACD, RSI, momentum, and the price line. So keeping it very, very simple. But if there are situations where I can use any extra tools, I'll definitely not hesitate to do that. Definitely, Josh, I'll check him out and see what he has to say. It will be really nice to know. Tricky spot right now for oil and gold. Yes, indeed. Hi, Rich, welcome. Which software do you recommend for chart analysis? Personally, when I started trading, I was using TD Waterhouse platform, and their charting and other things was very limited. So I started to look out for a separate charting platform. Then I found many YouTube investment people who are doing YouTube channels. They were using different specialist charting tools. And finally, I decided the one that was best for me was TradingView. I have got a pro subscription for the whole year. You pay in advance, and they keep on putting a lot of new features on an ongoing basis. I really love the TradingView platform. I'm not sponsored by TradingView. I don't get any money from them, but honestly, I can say TradingView platform has worked out very well for me. So just to give you a quick glimpse of what they have. So here you can have multiple lists in which you can have charts. And then you also have news items for each of those stocks. So for example, if you're on Shopify out here, and if you go into the news tab, you'll get all Shopify related news. And then it will have all Shopify related financial data, etc., and news calendar. So there is a lot of things out there. So that's what I would say, my friend. Hope that is helpful. I'll check that out, Josh. Since you're so impressed with this, I'll make it a point to have a look at it. I will definitely do that. So now let us go and look at our indices and all. Market is closed. We have to move very quickly. We saw the future is looking good. Let us go on to look at US oil. As I said, US oil has pierced through our resistance and come back down. And it's now got the 9-day exponential moving average as a support along with the 200. So it still needs to break down further. In my opinion, that will go down further. But as I mentioned, the Russia issue, Russia-Europe oil issue, that's likely to push the price up. We'll have to wait and watch what happens. So I will not put any opinion here. That's a good chance that we might break the red line of resistance and go up. So with that said, let us look at QQQ. And guys, I'm going to do this analysis completely, and after I finish the genomics, I'll come back and look at the chat window and answer your questions. So don't hesitate to put your questions in there and just wait for me. I'm not ignoring you. I'll be back and I'll answer each of your questions before I wind up the session. So with that said, let's go on to QQQ. We have a support from the 100-day exponential moving average today. Yesterday it was a resistance, but today we have broken through. Each of these candles is a one-day candle, and I can see the MACD is absolutely super bullish. Momentum is also very bullish with more room to run before it gets overbought. So I'm really loving what I see here. Post market, it's up minus 0.03. So there were no Friday jitters for NASDAQ. That's really admirable. But as I said, we are still in a bull market within a bear context. If you look at this bear channel out here, you can see very clearly that we have a support here and we have a resistance here. We have moved within that, and many times we have had the bull markets which then fizzled out after hitting the red line and come down again, then gone up again, then come down again. For a short period of time, we are in a smaller bull market, smaller bear market, which is this red line out here. Let me make it a bit thicker so that you can see it in your smaller devices. So this is what we had, and then we broke through it and it became a support, and then we are in this bullish leg, and after breaking through it we came back and tested the support here and went back up again. So the biggest test for us, whether we are in a bull market or in a bear market, is that we need to break through this diagonal red line of resistance, and once we do that, then I can confidently say that we have moved into a bull market. Until that happens, we are still in a bear market, but in a bullish run within a bear market. So keep that in mind. S&P 500 is up 1.47 today, and post-market it's flat. And it has also picked up support from the 100-day exponential moving average. MACD bullish, momentum also bullish, still has got room to run before it becomes overbought. So looking great in my opinion. And if you look at IWM, Russell's average is also up 0.68. Again, it has made the 100-day exponential moving average its support. Looking extremely good out here. Bullish MACD, momentum also good, still way below overbought. And post-market up minus, up 0.01% and fluctuating between flat and plus 0.01. Dow Jones is up 1.05% today, having broken through the 100-day exponential moving average and converting it to make it a support. And then MACD is also bullish, momentum also bullish, and it's still got space to go before it becomes overbought. So Monday at least looks good from here for me. Post-market we are flat, and VIX has ended up at around 21.38 today. Really happy with the progress we have made so far. And if we were to do some kind of a trend analysis here, you see this diagonal line out here, this diagonal green line, it was a support. We broke down below the support, and then we have broken down below two more support lines. We have broken down below all the exponential moving averages. So VIX is as weak as it has been in a long time. We just needed to come down to below 20 so that we can do our business as usual. MACD is looking bearish. Momentum also is bearing down towards 30%. So very happy where it is going. It's gone down today by 4.17%. So I'm very happy about that. PCC has ended up at 0.99. I would call that neutral to bullish, mildly bullish, but I would say it is more or less neutral. And if you look at XLP by XLY, you can see that's a huge risk on sentiment out there. US dollar index has continued to fall, and it is still being held up by the 50-day exponential moving average, still being pushed down by the 9-day and the 20-day exponential moving average. MACD is absolutely bearish. Momentum is also falling down, looking exceptionally good, my friend. This is good for the market overall. So I'm happy about it. And now let us go and quickly look at the technology sector. I just want to see a few shares before I proceed further. Microsoft is still continuing to gain. So it was not a flash in the pan. If you look at Amazon, it's continuing to gain. It gained around 10.4% today. It's also on a bullish run. Absolutely perfect. Post-split, it's continuing to gain. So I'm really happy about that. The other company I want to see is Google. Again, it's continued to gain 1.79%. Not a flash in the pan. It's all looking good. And Apple, it's gained 3.25% post-earnings. And it's slightly down 0.01% after hours, but today it was up 3.25%, looking spectacularly good and beautiful. It's so far away from this diagonal line of support and also away from all the means that we have. So it's showing incredible strength right now. So there will be some amount of sideways movement, in my opinion, on Monday, because we have come to the overbought status. So some shares tend to stay overbought for 2 or 3 days. Apple is quite capable of doing that. So I don't know if we are going to go up further or we're going to consolidate, come down a little, and then go up further again. It's only time will tell. We'll see that on Monday. And then I want to go and have a look at our automobile. Just one quick look at Tesla. It's up 5.79%. It has broken through this resistance. So I'm just going to mark this as a support here. And it's down minus 0.19 post-market. So now that we have seen those things, let's go and look at Genomics. This is where we'll spend the bulk of our time. I'm just going to sort this to make sure I have the losers at the very top. Verve lost the most today, and it's gone down below the line of support here. So I'm going to mark this as resistance, and it is 25.95, which is our resistance out here, and it has gone below the 20-day exponential moving average as well. That felt good. And I have the 100-day exponential moving average waiting to give it support. We are still in a bullish channel, don't get me wrong. This performance was very, very stupendous. It rose very sharply, so it has come down. But I still think Verve has got a lot of juice because they're very close to getting FDA approvals, and they have raised funds also. They have got the money necessary. They did a bit of equity dilution, but overall, I think Verve is likely to jump back again. It is going to touch this diagonal line of support, and then it's going to bounce back again. That is my personal opinion, not financial advice, but I would look very closely at Verve. MACD is bearish. Momentum has also fallen down. So it's as long as it's above average, I'm fine. It's above average, but it's falling down very steeply. So I'd expect a dead cat bounce when it comes to average. And then we'll have to see whether we are still able to break through the 25.95 and go further ahead. So that's what I'll say for Verve. And Invite, post-market, it's up 0.53%. It has dropped 4.52% today. And it's on a kind of free fall. It consolidated for the last 2 days, but today it has fallen significantly. It's below the resistance of 2.15. MACD is looking weak. Momentum is absolutely weak. Nothing is looking good for Invite right now. If you go to Editas, it's down minus 2.99%, and it's hitting on this diagonal line of support and bouncing back. So if you see today, it's a doji candle with two almost equidistant wicks, and it has jumped off this diagonal line of support. So it is still in the bullish channel, and it's also got support from the 100-day exponential moving average and the 20-day exponential moving average. So they are all keeping it up, and there is jitters around the earnings. The earnings are expected on 3rd of August, and therefore I think there's a bit of jitters out here, but I still think it's on a bullish track. The only concern for me is that the momentum is falling. As long as it's above average, I'm okay. Out here, the MACD has turned bearish. So Monday, we'll have to see what happens to Editas. Right now, there is no trades post-market. And I'm also going to be coming up with a Q2 earnings estimate for Editas very soon. I'll put it up there. I've already done one for PACB, and I've done one for Intelia. And this will be the, and I think I've done one more out there. This is going to be the 4th one. Editas will be the 4th one. So with that said, let's go. Yeah, I did the Bluebird also, Bluebird Q2. So you can check it all out on the channel. Bluebird is down 4.03% today, and another minus 0.49% post-market. And I think Bluebird is going to sit on consolidating between this minor line of resistance at, I think, 4.56, if I'm not mistaken. This line out here, 4.56, and the support out here, which happens to be at 3.72. So it's going to consolidate between those two. That is my expectation at this point of time. MACD is weak, and momentum is also very weak. Bluebird also has got a very limited cash runway, and they have got one of their therapies coming very close to approval. So I think they will have to look forward to the approval coming in so that they can get some life into their company and get some monetization buzz, and then the share price will pick up. So that's what I think happens here. Let us see whether they have any therapy for beta thalassemia. Betty, yeah, I think I spoke for Betty Cell. I think I was talking about Verve, and in Verve, I think I mixed Betty Cell with Verve. So I've done a bit of a boo-boo out here. Let us see. Yeah, I did a bit of a mix-up. I was talking about Betty Cell and all that. That was for Verve. I don't recollect what I said for Verve, but if I mentioned Betty Cell in Verve, please excuse me for that. It's for Bluebird. So Bluebird is likely to do that, and I bought the stocks basically because of Bluebird. I think I mentioned that earlier. I don't know in which segment, but it's coming to me. Now let's look at Beam. Beam is down 4.11%, and post-market there is nothing out here. The support out here at 65.12 has now become a resistance. So that's going to be a problem for Beam going forward. It's also fallen below the 9-day exponential moving average. That's a sign of weakness. And MACD has also turned bearish, and we have the momentum falling down. all these things I won't consider to be negative because of two reasons. The first reason is that we still have our bull channel intact, so that's support. And we still have most of the exponential moving averages, including the 200-day exponential moving average, providing support. So that is the second point. And I have one more bonus point. That bonus point is basically that the weakness we saw was because it was overbought on the RSI. And now that it has cooled down, the tech is clear for it to continue going up again come Monday. So I think Beam is going to look good on Monday. So with that said, let us look at Pfizer. Pfizer is down minus 0.41. Generally, I don't do much on Pfizer, Novartis and all because they're all big boys and they're not purely genomic companies, going to skip them. Intelia, it's down minus 1.37%. It has unfortunately fallen below the diagonal line of support. So I'm going to reluctantly convert this into a resistance now. And the support being provided right now is from the 100-day and the 20-day exponential moving average. And the resistance is provided by the 9-day exponential moving average. MACD has turned bearish. Momentum is still above average, so I'll hold out some hope on that. Post-market, there is no transactions out here. CRISPR Therapeutics down minus 1.19. Again, it's on a bull channel. I'm not too much worried about CRISPR. Of course, MACD is bearish and momentum is falling, but it is still above average. And post-market, we are up 1.16%. So I'll not worry too much about CRISPR Therapeutics until it touches this line of support. And that's when I'll get worried. For right now, I still think it's on a bullish track. Next, we look at ARCG, which is down 1.77%, and it has unfortunately fallen below this diagonal line of support. So I'm going to convert that into a resistance. And it has also fallen below this horizontal line of support at 36.91. So a good deal of weakness for ARCG. And the support is coming in from this minor line of support, which is out here, and which is going to sit at 35.57 or 35.64 when it comes to Monday. And then let us look at PSCB, which is down minus 2.67%. And post-market, there is no transaction. And it is kind of consolidating between the levels of 5.14 and 3.95. These are the two ranges between which it's consolidating. MACD is bearish. Momentum is below average, so not looking great out there. Vertex, I'm going to jump over Vertex. IDNA. IDNA is our genomics ETF, so it's important for us to look at it. IDNA is also showing weakness, not significant weakness, but good deal of weakness, and it has fallen below this diagonal line of support. So I'm going to mark this red and consider that to be a resistance. And we have the support from the 20-day exponential moving average. $20 exponential moving average, and then we have the 50-day exponential moving average providing some kind of support. So that's what we have, and MACD is not looking great. Momentum also is not looking great. However, it is still above average, so I'll watch it for another couple of trading days to determine where it goes. Allogene is down 2.04%. It's being supported by the 20-day exponential moving average. It is still on a bull channel. The diagonal bullish channel that you see here is still at work, and we are crossed over from the bear channel. So I'm really confident that we are on a bullish channel out here. Unfortunately, the thing that worries me most is the fact that we have fallen below the 200-day exponential moving average. That shows a bit of weakness, but still we are way stronger than we were before. Post-market, there is no transactions. MACD has just turned bearish. The momentum is above average. That's what I'm interested in. So hopefully on Monday when the market opens, it can regain a little bit. Novartis is down minus 1.64. Let us skip Novartis. Caribou Biosciences. It's still on a bullish channel. As you can see, it pierced the bull channel and came back up again. And when it came and pierced the bull channel, it also had the support coming in from the 9-day exponential moving average. So overall, it's looking good. As I mentioned in my session yesterday, this is a very strong resistance zone. So it's going to be difficult for this share, but it's trying to fill the gap that we have out here. And that is one of the force that is acting on it. So hopefully on Monday, it has to make a choice whether to go above this or to go below this. At this point of time, when I look at the charts, I think that it should go above because it's on a rising trend out here. Plus it has to fill up the gap out here. But as I showed you last week with regard to Tesla was in a bearish pennant, but it still picked up because of company news. So if there is good news from Caribou, it can definitely break this and go up. And if there is bad news, it can break the line of support and go down. So those things are most likely to happen. We'll have to watch this again on Monday and see where it goes. I'm going to skip Regeneron and go to SQZ Biotech. It's also looking very weak. MACD is weak, momentum is weak, and it's below its lowest level. So not much strength out there. IMTX is down minus 0.89%, and it has got a diagonal line of support which is very strong, and the bull channel right now is very, very harsh and steep. So I would expect everything to consolidate. As you can see here, it's being overbought. Therefore, this is a good thing to do. Let us watch Monday what happens. Unless it comes below 70, the chances are that it's going to consolidate, go down a little bit before it goes up again. And we are a long way away from this diagonal line of support. So it could fall a lot also, for that matter. Teladoc is up 3.48% after falling almost 10 or 12% last time, and it's already managed to go above this horizontal line of minor line of support. So that's looking good there. But MACD is bearish. Momentum is picking up. So I like the way the momentum is playing right now. It's pointed upwards, so that's a good sign for me. Illumina is up 1.37%, and it's converted the 50-day exponential moving average into a support. That is good. MACD is bullish. And we also have momentum, which is above average and plenty of room to run before it becomes overbought. No trades post-market. I love Illumina. It's looking great. It should do well. DNA is up 0.70%, and post-market it's flat. Again, it's done very well. 3 consecutive days of growth. It's being constrained by the 9-day, 20-day, and the 50-day exponential moving average, which are all sitting close together. So it's a very, very tight resistance. MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line in a bullish manner. Momentum is just about average. So as soon as it pierces through average, I think we are in play with DNA. With that said, my friends, I have come to an end of this session, and I hope you did like this session. And if you did like it, please put a like out there. And if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe. I would like to quickly take a look at the chat window and see what our community is saying and answer some questions before I wind down the session. So how many people do we have here right now? We have just one watching right now. Okay, so many people have left. Let us see. Okay. Ben, would you be willing to share information of Genomic Holdings portfolio? Yes, Ben. I have ArcG. I have Blue. And SQZ. So that's what I have. So bye, my friends. I'll catch you all up later. Take care.